Bonjour everyone and welcome along to round 8 of the Formula 1 World Championship here at Inside Line Racing. And as you might have guessed by that bonjour welcome, it is the French Grand Prix, the first ever Inside Line Racing Grand Prix here in France at the Paul Ricard circuit, the 3.6 mile racetrack, 15 turns, the first ever race here, and it should be a cracker. Unfortunately, as we were trying to get this stream underway, that's why we're a little bit late, we had some issues with James's internet. I've made the party joinable. Hopefully he will come back. Hopefully we don't get any strangers joining the party and ruining our commentary. We'll wait and see how it goes. But yeah, that is the issue we have there. Hopefully we'll have him back as soon as we can get him. So the car's out on track. You're looking at snazzy evening 44 out there at the moment. The newcomer in his first race in the Inside Line Racing League season. He's coming up towards the end of the lap here, through turn 14 and into turn 15, and when he rounds that final corner he'll come across the line to put the first time on the board. In fact, he's coming into the pits. So 6 cars with a time on the board so far. Veloci Surprise, ZSR Simon, OMG It's Joe, Veloci Limitless, TRL Martin and Mike Marshmallow. The tyre compounds for this weekend: the ultra soft tyre, the super soft tyre and the soft compound tyre. Now, as we've seen many times already over the course of this season, that qualifying can be a little bit different to what we're used to. Sometimes they only have one run in this session, as they only have one set of super softs available to them, or the second hardest compound. But today it is the softest compound of tyres the drivers will be using, and that of course is the ultra soft tyre, which means we will have 3 or 4 runs by the drivers in qualifying, plenty of time out on track with people going for quick laps, and Veloci Surprise at the moment has done the quickest of those times, a 1 minute 28.25, or a tenth quicker than VSR Simon in second. Joe a little bit further back in third, 128.5. Then Veloci, Limitless and TRL Martin fourth and fifth. Limitless, of course, last time out was hoping to challenge near the front of the order, but encountered a little bit of a slide and bounced off the barrier, damaged his front wing in the Canadian Grand Prix, and ended up running quite far down the order. TRL Martin, he's 5th at the moment. Mike Marshmallow in 6th, as we keep an eye on LCR Hayden, who's currently, I believe, on an outlap, about to start a quick one. Let's see what LCR Hayden can do here in France. A lot of runoff area on this Paul Ricard circuit. As we go on board now with Hayden, let's see if we can ride on board for a hot lap with the Mercedes driver, who's been battling hard to score points all season long, as he rounds that final corner and up across the start-finish line to begin the lap of this Paul Ricard circuit. Crossing the line down towards turns 1 and 2, a car just coming out the pits in front. Hayden uses all that curb he can on the right hand side before plunging downhill and then back uphill through turns 1 and 2, and then a long descent down towards turn 3. Huge runoff areas on this racetrack. Very unlikely we're going to see any safety cars or cars bouncing off into barriers in this Grand Prix. So down the hill now through the tight turn 5 and into one of the longest corners you'll find, turn 6, just desperately waiting to pick up the throttle is LCR Hayden, and then catapulting himself down this long back straight. Now, is that a little bit of a toll going on there from the 2 Mercedes teammates? It looks like it. So snazzy evening in his first race, looks to be in the mould already, but the 2 teammate battles are helping each other out there. So Hayden now negotiating that fast chicane and heading down the long back straight, the Mistral straight, towards the corner. I likened in my hot lap video to the opposite of 130R. 130R goes to the left, this one goes to the right. High speed, 200 miles an hour through there, into this long sweeping right-hander, similar to turn 8 at Turkey, or that long right-hander we have at the Indian Grand Prix circuit, which we raced on so few times between, I think, 2011 and 2013, I think was the only time we raced in India. As we go back on board with the LCR Hayden, rounding the final couple of corners and up to the line. What can Hayden do on this lap? And look at that, he's back. Diablo is back. Good to have you, James. You've not missed much so far, only 7 times on the board. Welcome back.
Yep, hello everybody, and well, I'm sure he's already welcomed you enough, so I won't bore you again in lovely France for this evening, and we appreciate if I could join you actually.
Can you get in? Have you got invites to get in? Can I do that?
I
do that.
Try it.
Okay, 2 minutes folks, apologies for this. I'm just going to have to load up this menu and try and invite James into the lobby. How do I do it? Invite
Invite to
game.
invite.
I found it. There we go. So that should get you back in. I can now close the party, make the party invite only. We don't want any random people joining. And there we are, back to the action. Apologies for that brief interruption, pardon me, to our coverage, but we are back with the action, and we've got James, a full voice of James in the commentary box, which of course we always want. So let's go on board with Ghost Crab as James finally joins. Oh, well, let's not go on board with Ghost Crab because he's running way off the track on one of the several runoff areas on the circuit, as VSR Simon has gone quickest of all out there with a 1 minute 28.2. We've got Veloci Surprise out there pushing hard. Joe's coming up to the line. Where's he going to go then? P3 at the moment, a 28.5. He stays P3, improves ever so slightly. So a slight improvement for Joe. What about Veloci Surprise? What about Limitless? What about Martin? We'll stick with Surprise at the moment. The man who's at the top of the championship standings. No wins in the last two races, though a slight dip in form for the Williams driver. Round the final corner he comes and up towards the line. 7 minutes to go in the session. A 1:28.2 to beat, and he bails out for the pits. So let's go to Limitless or Martin. Limitless looks to me like he's bailed out of that current lap. Here comes Martin, round the final corner. Thierry Martin, a very poor season up till now. Up to the line he comes, and it's not a quick lap at all there from Martin. 28.9, and he stays quite far down the order, but VSR more so. Look at that, James. Third quickest on a 1:28.4. Where has he managed to find the pace to do that?
Once again, VSR Morso is proving his pace. Remember in Canada we got that brilliant, Canada? Yeah, it was Canada.
Yep,
we got that brilliant podium. And, I mean, it's looking, all the omens are good for the Haas driver at the moment. It's seemingly he was getting swamped by his teammate early doors this year in Holland, but seemingly turning the tables around, and the Haas is starting to prove like it is a good package to have, with more so in third. Let's see what Holland can do, though. He's currently in the pits, as I say that, so we'll just have to see what he can do in qualifying. Can he get anywhere near his teammate in third place?
Well, Alex about to start a flying lap. The man, of course, last week, or a couple of weeks ago as it was now, due to the break for the eSports series, was racing in his home Grand Prix, was running pretty well until a disconnection from the session cost him dear and ruined his home race and sent the home fans back home with a tear in their eye. But French Grand Prix, not Canada, but the closest thing to it, James, isn't it? So maybe he can recover here as he comes into the pits on this occasion.
Absolutely, he will be looking for, once again, we know what Alex is like. He's consistent in the points, a very good point scorer, a very good team player, I think, in that sense. Always picking up the points for the constructors, and that's of course what they'll be looking for, the Toro Rosso team. Yeah, you went on about the track limits around here. They're quite sizable, and I think, personally, I think this track would do with a few gravel traps here and there. The old classic gravel trap, just here, there, and everywhere. Let's throw one in the works and see what we do to racing round. I'm sure it'll make it a lot more exciting, a lot more tense for everyone involved. Yep,
we'll see how it goes then. As Grosh is making his way back to the pits. I'm looking out for anyone out there on the track at the moment on a quick lap. Mike Marshmallow and Snazzy Evening are on outlaps. Mike Marshmallow will be the first one to start a flying lap. The majority of cars in the pits at the moment. He is on the super soft tyre. Now, as I mentioned briefly at the start of the session, you can do ultra soft tyres. You can start on this, the fastest compound, the grippiest compound of tyre at this Grand Prix and make the one-stop work, which is something we've seen being a problem for drivers at previous tracks. So we are going to see a hatful of laps here in qualifying, and is that pit lane entrance for Mike Marshmallow? It is indeed. So let's go to Snazzy Evening then, who comes round the final corner to start a flying lap. His first race, James, in ILR1. He's raced in a few top tiers in other leagues, so let's see what he's capable of.
Absolutely, throwing the car into turn one. It's a really difficult corner this. Turn two closely follows, and the apex of turn two is very, very wide indeed, with a lot of runoff for these drivers. Kink of turn three, I suppose you could call that. Turn four then creeps up on you again. A lot of curve you can take through there as we end towards the end of the first sector. Again, a lot of curve can be taken on the exit through there. You want to keep your car absolutely flat out. Maybe a slightly unorthodox line from Snazzy Evening there as he opens up the DRS, heading towards that chicane, that infamous chicane, and this will be a place where we'll see plenty of overtakes. And as Andy stated maybe in there previously, that there are a few lines you can take through there. Throws the car in there, and once again he's taking quite a narrow approach, just trying to keep the traction going, where there's a lot of speed he's carried in there, so he's going to be slower on the exit. That could cost him if he tries that in the Grand Prix. This flat out right hand corner is a dream to drive in these Formula 1 cars. So easy on the on the right foot, keeps it planted, and then you're just always looking for that apex, always just trying to downshift just enough. You're not really braking through there, you're lifting off. And once again through here, lift off, then you start to brake. You don't press the brake pedal as hard as what many people would think. Throwing the car then towards the end of this first sector, and once again you can force to take a fair bit of curb there, and it's a really windy part of the circuit. Then you've got to drop the gears, throw the car the other way up towards the line. Let's see what Sazzy Evening can do. He will go into P8, which is a pretty respectable effort considering he is on the super soft tyres.
Yeah, very good spot there. Super soft tyres for him. He was flying out of our shot as he runs clean off the road at turn 1. I think he's returning to the pits as quick as he can. I don't know what the stewards will say about that on orthodox line, but he's returning to the pits nonetheless. VSR Simon out there on an outlap at the moment. We've got Dralix out there. Is he on a quick one? Let's see if we can pick Dralix up. He's about to start a flying lap, so I'm going to go to Simon if I can find him. So where is VSR Simon? He's in the middle of the lap at the moment. Murso, Joe, and pardon me, Limitless out there as well on outlaps. But let's go to Joe then. I think he's furthest round of the front runners, about to start a lap. And Langman, it looks like, is sitting just in front of him, looking to give a tow here perhaps. So this could be one to watch. Langman backing his teammate right up here. This is not what Ferrari want to be doing. And Langman goes now, and then Joe will follow. I hate this camera angle, it's not very good. So Joe, round the final corner, up to the line to start a lap here with 1.5 minutes to go. This will be the big lap in the session for him. This is where his race will be, our qualifying session will be decided. Where will he start this race? Through turns 1 and 2 goes Joe. The Ferrari, the prancing horse, galloping down the hill then. Will he get a tow from Langman on this lap, or is Langman too far up the road? I think he is. So, oh, Joe's missed the corner there, gone off the road, and he'll have to abandon that lap. So Joe running wide, and the lap is ruined. So we'll have to come away from Joe. He's still pushing out there, but that lap has surely been ruined. Let's go to VSR Simon then, as he comes towards that middle sector, sorry, through that, down that long back straight, the chicane that breaks up that long straight, the Mistral chicane it's called, because of course it is the Mistral straight. And Simon, can he stretch his advantage at the front? A 128, he's backed out, 128.2 from him at the moment. So no improvement for Simon on this lap. Will he have time to go again? We'll wait and see. Murso started another one. Somewhat a surprise package to be within that group of the top 5. It's a bit of a surprise for us. Joe's still pushing. Limitless is a little bit up on his current best through sector 1. So is Limitless the man to watch at the moment? Let's see what Limitless can do. He's found 0.07 700 on this lap. Can the Red Bull driver finally get it right in qualifying? He's been putting a lot of work, a lot of practice into it this weekend. I was speaking to him last weekend at the F1 eSports series, and he said he was fully focused on ILR until the end of the season. What can he deliver on this lap as he goes flat out through scene? It's like 130R only in the opposite direction. Now this high speed, long right-hander. Patience is key. Picking up the throttle and down towards the end of the lap. Going on board now with JD as he works the wheel of the Red Bull on those ultra soft tyres. Is this the moment where he begins to shine this season? 2 corners to go for the Red Bull driver. Flinging it into the left-hander, 1 corner to go, drop right down into second gear, first even for JD, now the run to the line. Can the Red Bull driver put it on pole? Veloci Limitless stays P5, no improvement. But what about his teammate Martin? And what about Simon behind that? Simon's backed out of his current run. So it's currently Simon, surprise, Murso. What can Martin do? Is there any improvement for him? Murso stays third with his latest run. Now, Martin round the final corner, second gear, third gear, stretching towards the line. What can he do in the Red Bull? Martin for the line. He stays P6. So what about Veloci's the Prix? Where is he? Final couple of corners for him. The checker flag is out. Barely any improvements in these late runs from the top runners. Is Veloci's Prix, the championship leader, going to be the only man to improve and stick it on pole? No, he's not. He stays second quickest with a 1:28.250. They all came round, they all tried to beat Simon, and none of them could do it, James.
Absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen that this season. I mean, most of the time you do see the odd improvement, but look how consistent those top few cars are. You have the odd car in there, the Ferrari and the McLaren, but it's so, you know, the Red Bulls are up there, the 2 Hasses are there as well. They'll be playing so much in the tactics, you feel, in this Grand Prix. It's going to be so crucial. for all those guys. More so starts from a very, very respectable third on the grid. I believe it's best qualifying of the season. And what about that? There you go, 20 hundredths of a second. 2 hundredths of a second between Simon and Surprise. They start on the front row, and he will lead the field away with all the German. More so starts from third ahead of Joe. Limitless and Martin make up row 3 for Red Bull. Hayden starts from a brilliant 7th. That's gone right under the radar. 8th for Holland, 9th for Thomas. Snazzy Evening was the second fastest super soft runner. He starts from 10th. Overkills is 11th. Reynolds, Melanie, Langman, Drelix, Mike Marshmallow, Verstappen and Gorsh, Gorsh failed to set a time, but what a lap from Hayden's, but it's 7th on the grid.
Wow, I mean, there's quite a few standout performers there. I mean, you have the usual guys you'd expect to be in the top 5, joined by Murso. That is superb. We've spoke about Haas, how good they are in race trim. If they can improve the qualifying, they'd be right in there. And by the looks of it, James, they are there now. What a performance. I mean, Holland might be 8th on the grid, but he's on the super soft tyre, the lead super soft runner. So this is going to be thrilling. We've got the 2 Red Bulls in there, we've got Surprise, we've got Simon, we've got the Ferrari of Joe, and then the 2 Haas cars showing what they're capable of, as well as that superb effort from LCR Hayden. I mean, it's difficult to pick a driver of qualifying. We don't often do it, but who do you go for? Do you go for Hayden? Do you go for Murso? Do you go for that great effort at the end there on the super soft tyre from Holland? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a tough one. I think really what we all ought to be looking at this kind of moment is, if it works for Haas, they've nailed it. And you'd have to say, you'd have to give it to the team in that sense. But it's going to be so crucial, actually, for Haas as well. They need to get a good launch. Holland cannot afford to get any sort of damage towards turn 1. Turn 1, again, round here, like many laps that you'll find this season, is quite crucial to the opening lap of this Grand Prix, but it's such a weird corner, turn 1, at the best of in dry conditions. When you're on a qualifying lap, it's a weird corner, really odd to get right, not really made for 2 cars going wide into there. And then turn follows again. They'll be side by side, you can think, but let's see what all happens, because this is going to play out. So it's going to be such an interesting first lap, I think, especially for those 2 Haas cars, but not least for the top 2 of Simon and Surprise. Will the championship battle, will it heat up now? Because these 2 are somewhat sizable in the championship gap, but it can definitely be closed up.
Yeah, it sure can, James, and there's so much to talk about. As you say, that first corner could be very interesting to watch. As you've also mentioned at the top of the show, or we've both mentioned, but we haven't actually had a league race here at all in ILR history. So the first time, this is going to be really exciting to see how the cars run through turns 1 and 2. But we saw in real life F1 this season, in the first race here, there was utter chaos at turn 1, at turn 2, all the way down the hill at turn 3, 4 and 5. So will that be the case here? But surely you would think, with the huge runoff areas, that people would be able to avoid incidents by scampering across them. But before we come to the line to start this lap, let's have a quick look at the tyre compounds. The top 7, Simon, Surprise, Murso, Joe, Limitless, Martin and Hayden, all on the ultra soft tyre. PSR Holland, the fastest qualifier on the super softs. PSR Thomas is 9th on the ultra. Snazzy Evening on the supers in 10th. Then the guys outside the top 10 who can pick their tyre compound. Unsurprisingly, they've all elected for the super soft compound, obviously believing that a set of super softs to a set of softs is the quickest way to go this weekend. So here they come, lining up on the grid. It's Simon on pole, Surprise alongside. It's been a feature of recent races, seeing those 2 locking horns. But what about VSR Murso? Mixing it up, not only in the race, but now in qualifying as well. Has he put himself in a position to challenge near the front of this Grand Prix? We'll find out as the cars line up on the grid. We're getting ready to go racing. The 5 red lights are coming on here in France. Round 8 of the championship, and ILR1 Xbox is go! Lights out, away we go. It's Simon leading from pole on the long run down to turn 1. And look at Murso, he's in a storming start, pulling alongside the championship leader into turn 1. Can he do anything about it? No, he can. It's still Simon leading. Forced out there was Murso, and he's now under pressure from Joe as they hurtle down the hill towards turns 3 and 4 and 5. Side by side goes Joe. He's on the inside, now the outside. Side by side they continue. There's a car off in the background. That's Snazzy Evening on his debut, and Joe is through up into P3 out of VSR Murso, who, James, by the looks of it, was too greedy trying a move on Surprise and ends up losing out and dropping to P4.
2. Joe's got a really dodgy run though, coming up down this long back straight towards the chicane. We'll watch a Red Bull behind as well. He's really closing in on this fight. But Morso thinks better of it into the chicane. It's a stunning start from Morso, but he just couldn't get it all together. Couldn't keep the Ferrari behind him because he was just forcing the issue. Joe did not want to let that Haas through, and he'd done such a good job there as well. Martin's had a poor start. He's down into P7. VSR Thomas has moved up through the pack here, and let's see what Limitless can do against Morso, because Morso looks like a sitting duck. Down the inside goes Limitless, in towards his long right-hander. Morso forced out wide. The Red Bull takes P4 with ease, and what a brilliant little move that was from Veloce Limitless.
Well, I'd love to speak about it because I'd never seen it. I went flicking back to see some three wide action there. I probably should have stuck with that battle. Apologies, folks, for missing that. But Veloce Limitless is now up into P4. And again, we speak about it. Qualifying, Red Bull's Achilles heel. Down in 5th and 6th on the grid. Not what they want. We spoke about it. We've heard a lot this weekend about Red Bull being extremely quick on race pace, particularly in the hands of Veloce Limitless, and this slow start to the race, starting down in P5, just hampers them more and more. Can Limitless do anything to get his way up for the field? Langman, meanwhile, he looks pretty close to the back of Martin in the battle for 7th and 8th. Is he going to find a move up the inside there as they battle over P7 and P8? Through turns 5 they go. The slow right-hander picking up the throttle through the long turn section. This is where Langman will really feel it. Really tricky, lots of dirt here as he tries to pick up the throttle, slingshotting through turn 7, and now down this long straight, the Mistral straight, broken up by the chicane in the middle, offering a braking zone, a chance to move up the inside. Here comes Langman on the brakes, up the inside of TRL Martin, and through goes the Ferrari, up into P7, down goes Martin, back to P8, James.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from Langman. He's had a really, really good start from. I think he was all the way down in 14th on the grid. He's made 7 places up in 2 laps here. What a stunning start. The Red Bull will try and come back at him, you feel, over the course of this first stint. Those ultra soft tyres, Martin will need to get to grips with them quite quickly. But I feel like Martin might have wing damage, you know. There's not a lot of front wing for what I can see on board of his car. On the left-hand side, he's definitely got wing damage.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just having a close look there. Yeah, he does. You're absolutely right. Good spot, James. You're absolutely right. That left side, as you look at it on board, is totally damaged for Martin, and that is going to be a long afternoon for him. He's already under pressure from EBR Reynolds behind, as the gap at the front is around half a second. But I will want to go to that in a moment. Before we do, we'll keep an eye on this Reynolds battle with Martin in the battle for P8 and 9. Is he going to make a move as they swarm down through turns 1 and 2? Martin really struggling with the lack of grip, and here comes Reynolds pulling alongside as they stream down the hill towards turn 3. Surely he'll have the move done on the brakes. Yes, he does. Martin drops back now to P9, and you feel that's going to be a continuous downward trend as the race goes on. Back to the front, Veloce Surprise, trying to stick with Simon and doing a good job at the moment, isn't he? As Limitless, meanwhile, side by side with Joe, and he's through. Limitless up into P3. That's twice I've missed Limitless making a move now. I presume Joe made a mistake somewhere, did he? Because he didn't seem that close initially.
I didn't catch that either. I was keeping tabs on the gap because it was really close, but Limitless is into P3. What a tremendous getaway from the Red Bull. He had to clear Joe as well, because Joe is one of those drivers who seemingly loses a bit of pace at the end of a first stint in any race I've seen of him this season. Just seemingly can't get it together towards the end of the first stint. So it's crucial then for Limitless that he gets past. He's now got to hustle and harry the Williams and the McLaren that lead this Grand Prix. Still Simon from Surprise, the top 2.
Is this finally the race where Veloce Limitless shows the potential that we know he's capable of? It's been a long time in coming. A lot of hurt over the last few games without race victories. Is this the day where he takes it back to Simon and Surprise this afternoon? He's had to start lowly, as he's done so many times this season, but he's got the jump on Joe, as you say, a man that's been causing him so many problems due to Joe having a lack of race pace. He's so quick over 1 lap as Joe, but when it comes to the race, he can just be a roadblock for the likes of Limitless. He's cleared him early, and now Murso is on the charge. He's right up behind Joe. He's pulling alongside already as they head down towards turn 3. This is becoming a cracking overtaking place, but still no way through for him. Joe goes really deep on the brakes. Look at this from Murso. Somehow finds the gap and goes up the inside into turn 5. I've never seen a move there, but I have now. That was great racing between the pair. Great awareness, and Murso is climbing back up through the field and into P4, James. Lovely move. And look at Thomas now attacking the Ferrari.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from Warsaw. Kept his foot in there right around the outside. Something you don't really see, as you say, Andy. Never see that, and you probably won't see it again. You might see it again. Let's just see what Thomas decides to do now, though, because he's all over the back of Joe. He's going to have so much momentum going off chicane. Joe cut the corner slightly on the exit. The house is just behind Langman as well. As we head in towards this long right-hander, Thomas has got to keep it on the inside. Thomas has got a lot of. He's got so much speed into there, but he just can't get the move done. And the Ferrari is still ahead of him. The McLaren down the inside. What a brilliant little move that is from Thomas. He moves himself to P5. What a drive from the McLaren.
Wow. Wow, James. I never liked France. I love it now. This is absolutely fantastic. What a race we're having. Great racing throughout the field. Thomas up to P5. And this is another case of Joe struggling to keep the life in his tyres, struggling to keep the temperatures in the window. And he drops down to P6. It's been a real problem for him for so many races. His teammate Langman is going to be on him pretty soon. Two super soft runners already all over the back of the ultra soft driver, but we need to go to surprise. He's only 2 tenths behind Simon out at the front, so let's have a look at that. This being the lead battle takes priority, so let's keep an eye on it. Is Veloci Surprise lining up a move on Simon? At the moment, Limitless doesn't look like he's able to keep with them here. So, heading out onto turn 7 and onto the Mistral straight, is Veloci Surprise in a position to make a move on VSR Simon. They go side by side, the McLaren and the Williams, and surely Veloci Surprise will be through, and he is up into the lead of the French Grand Prix. Simon could do nothing, and into the lead goes the championship leader, Veloci Surprise. Textbook stuff, that one, wasn't it?
Absolutely, again, just another textbook overtake from Veloci Surprise. He makes it look so easy against some of the hardest drivers.
Sorry, James, to come across you. Ferrari's going side by side for 7th and 8th. Langman making a move on Joe, who's lost out to Reynolds, and now his teammate on this lap alone. His tyres are absolutely finished. James, he's really struggling, isn't he?
That's incredible how much time he's lost, because he's now behind his teammate. You never really see that between the two Ferraris. That Langman's ahead of Joe, but that's the case here. Langman's had a still, just as I say, he's had a brilliant race so far as Langman, so he'll be loving that, getting past his teammate. But now he's really got to challenge Reynolds as well, and that's crucial, I think, for this Grand Prix. And the man on the super soft tyres in Langman, yeah, there's a few pitters coming in now actually. One of them is Limitless as well. So let's just see what these guys, they're all going to go onto the soft tyres. They're all trying to go to the end of the Grand Prix now. It's a weird pit lane, this one. So let's just see what in terms of undercuts, that's probably what we'll be looking out for as the next few laps unfold. As Melanie goes around the outside of Snazzy Evening there, I think. No, not quite. There's a good old squabble going on further back though.
Yeah, I've got an eye on it now. I just clicked on a car and luckily found it there. And oh, that's a little touch from Overkill on the back of Melanie. Did he damage his wing there? We've got the helicopter cam. And there's another move, just like Murso, but unable to pull off there was Dralix. They go side by side through turn 6. Overkill clipping the back of the Sauber in front, lost the momentum, and Dralix steams in to steal the place. This is for P11, for goodness sake. Action everywhere you look. Here comes Overkill, looking for revenge. Side by side they will go into the braking zone. Surely not round the outside into that corner. There's a battle going on just in front of that as well, and he does do it. Overkill is through as Melanie and Snazzy Evening do battle just in front. Incredible. What's happened between Simon and Surprise? What's happened at the front?
They're really close, aren't they? Yeah, they're making a move around the outside.
In
towards the, yeah, he's gone right around the outside of it, looks like, into the left-hander. How has he managed that? The McLaren's back in front, leading the French Grand Prix once again. It's a stunning squabble for the lead of this race.
Oh, unbelievable. We can't keep up with this, folks. It's incredible. So Simon and Surprise pit. Look how close that was to what was speeding there from Simon. He had everything locked up. So into the pits they come. It's now all about the pit crew. This is why they practice on Thursdays, all throughout testing, all before practice, before the race, to get the stop right. He's being held, is he? Or is that the game glitching? We'll find out right now. Oh, what are these cameras? Give me the action on my screen, for goodness sake.
He's still ahead.
Is he ahead? Okay, well there you go then. Simon, back out. Where is Limitless in relation though? Where is Limitless?
Limitless is just coming down the pit straight now. He's miles behind. He's actually behind Morso now as well. Limitless has lost another position. This time it's the Haas of Morso.
Wow, so a nightmare for Limitless. Has he been held in the pits or something? Got stuck in traffic? I'm not too sure. But now you can see the two net leaders in your shot with Ghosh Crab up ahead. And we know what Ghosh is like. He likes to fight absolutely everything, doesn't he? So here we go. Could this be decisive in this race? So Ghosh moves out to the right hand side, I think, to defend, and he is defending. And look at this, here comes Simon. What way is he going to go? He switches to the outside. Is he going to make the move stick? Yes, he is. Simon's through, and that could be a race-defining move because Surprise is still stuck behind that Force India. Wow.
Not for much longer though, because he's side by side with him and he's gone through. And yeah, you're right, Andy, that had me on the edge of my seat. That was crazy stuff. How he threw that car into the corner. The back end of it was stepping out as he threw the car in. It was an absolutely amazing move. I did not expect that, and especially guaranteed that it wasn't necessarily for position, but he had to get it done, and got it done. He did. And Gorshoes is out and he's going off the road and everything now, but Surprise still sits behind the McLaren of Simon.
Yeah, we'll need to keep an eye on that one. That can change oh so often. We've missed so much action in this race. We've seen so much as well, though. And now there's a battle between those guys outside the top 10 at the start of this Grand Prix, all on those super soft tyres. Look at them all streaming through your shot. Turns 1, 2 and 3. You've got Snazzy in there. You've got Melanie, Overkill, Dralix, all battling. Limitless is that's a battle we need to watch. Limitless on Murso. Let's keep an eye on that. Oh, I don't know what to watch at the moment. Do I watch the action at the front, or do I watch the guys who will be at the front later on? Limitless versus Murso, that is quite important. So let's stick with that at the moment, and then go back to Melanie, Overkill and Dralix. Or if you want to keep an eye on that, and I'll keep an eye on this, it's up to you,
yep.
James. But,
let's do that, yep.
Yeah, Limitless behind Murso then. Is he going to make a move? Let's see, as Melanie and Snazzy Evening look to be changing places, but let's keep an eye on this. Is Limitless going to make a move on Murso as they approach the braking zone? He's tucked right up behind him. Is he going to dive up the inside? Not on this occasion. Give me a quick report of what's happening in front.
Goodness me, they're nearly too wide. It's a long right-hander. The Overkill's on the inside, no thinks better of it. They're now the Alfa Romeo looking to make a move on that Mercedes. He's really close to get on the rear end of it. You want to watch the Renault there because he seemingly got quite a good run coming off the exit of the corner there. Will he be able to challenge the Mercedes and the Sauber? Thinks better of it into there. Melanie once again though, and there's a move going on actually. I think Morse's just got past Gorsh, so that's all happy days. But it's starting to fire out a little bit.
Limitless trying to do it as well on Gorsh. Can he do it? Spinning the outside of Gorsh through turn 12. He's done it. So now he sticks to the back of Murso. He keeps him in his sights. So back to that battle. It's ding-donging. Well, that's what we've got to do with this race. What's happening up in front?
Absolutely, I just saw the Gorsh thing, but they nearly made contact between the two of them, Limitless and Gorsh. There was nearly a knock-on, isn't it? Both of them got straight on into turn 1. I think that's the Mercedes of Melanie, Snazzy Angel with Verstappen, and now Melanie's all over the back of the Mercedes in towards turn 4. They go again. Still can't get the move done. Tralix is looking for a move as well. He can't get a move done. In fact, actually, he may have got the move done on Overkills. He got ahead of the Renault, it seemed, and he is moving up the order once again. But look at the Mercedes, he's so wide again. Down towards this back straight we go. Can Melanie get a move done on Snazzy even as they head in towards the chicane? I don't think he's going to be close enough, although I may have just bitten the bullet by saying that because he's on the outside. Look at him go right around the outside. The Mercedes keeps it on the inside and it looks like he may get the momentum. Will the Sauber? He surely must. And now look at the Mercedes' rear end. It's all over the shop. Now, down towards his long right-hand corner, can he hold him right around the outside? It would be a brave old move from the Sauber, and let's see what he can do. He's going to keep his foot in there, but can't quite get the move done around the outside. This long right-hander follows. Can the Sauber rotate his car enough to get ahead of that Mercedes? He's going for the drive coming off that corner. He can't get the move done just yet.
Hold on a moment, Limitless on the inside of Murso through turn 11 of all places. Sorry to come across you, James. That was a huge lunge from Limitless, and by the looks of it, he's almost frightened Murso out of the position. That's a stunning move, right round the outside of Murso through turn 12 to make it stick. Wow, what a move from Limitless. You know, just sort of threatened to go up the inside into turn 11. Murso said, okay, you're there, I don't want to have a crash. Then lined him up through turn 12, went steaming round the outside and made it stick and made it look as if Murso wasn't even there. Limitless back up into what would be a net P3, James. Incredible. Go back to the battle up at the front. Crazy.
That was absolutely incredible scenes. I don't even care if you don't apologise for that going across because it was stunning. Let's see them because Surprise and Simon are right on the gearbox of each other. Simon's going to get the DRS of the car ahead. That is the Renault of Overkills, and this is where this Grand Prix could really spice up. The top 3 ahead of them are really going for it, and they are the top 3 in the Grand Prix. Melanie, Tralix and Overkills, they're all really close on track, and let's just see if Surprise could get anywhere near on the brakes. They want to watch out though, because there's a lot of carnage going on ahead. Drelix has made slight contact with overkills or vice versa, and now the McLaren will have to get the move done towards the right hand. And will the Renault fight it? Doesn't look like he will. Will he fight the Williams? He doesn't fight that either. Very, very wide. Very good driving from Overkills, thinking much bigger in this grand scheme of things and letting those two fight out for the race win.
Oh, this is mad.
Ooh, Travis gone off.
As well, and that will surely allow both cars through. Seemingly these guys not want to fight. Oh, they are wanting to fight. Drelix having to fight hard there with Veloci Surprise as they try and negotiate traffic. Bristol is for position, and finally Drelix has to concede. And will Melanie come into the pits? I think Simon will certainly be hoping so, and indeed he does, and that will be a huge sigh of relief for VSR Simon. Goodness me, James, what a race we are having here. Lap 11 out of 27. I don't know where to look, but it's Veloci Surprise and Simon fighting for the lead lap after lap. In the traffic, out of the traffic, they're so evenly matched, and we've got a yellow out there in sector 3, and I'm not sure why.
Absolutely, and I think that this could actually go down as probably the best Grand Prix we've seen all season. It's been a brilliant race here in France. Absolutely everything going on all of the time, and this is what ILR was like last season, wasn't it? Just carnage everywhere you looked. And now Simon is defending the inside. Actually, look at that. He's letting Surprise through almost. In towards the chicane they go. In fact, is it just defensive? No, it isn't. Surprise is right around the outside of him. We've got the move done. He leads the French Grand Prix. And I don't know what I've just seen there. That's absolutely crazy. Was Simon letting him through? What the hell was that?
I've got no idea, James. I mean, have we missed something maybe? Or either that, or Simon just felt he wanted to be... I don't know. I really don't know. I've got no idea. But he's lining him up here into turn 11. I presume there must have been a move somewhere on the track, because you don't relinquish the lead in a fierce battle like that so easily. So I'm not sure what the reason behind that was for Simon, but Veloci Surprise is back into the lead on lap 11 out of 27. What a race we are witnessing. It's Surprise from Simon, from Drelix, from Overkill. Those two have yet to stop. Then Limitless would be net P3 with Merceau P4. Those two are in a battle of their own as well for that final podium spot. Joe sort of reviving himself into the race again, like he's done so many times. When he gets off those tyres, the first set of tyres, he brings himself back into play. Can he do that and get onto the tail of the likes of Merceau and Limitless? He's around 1.8 off the back of them. That will be one to watch. But Simon versus Surprise, they just look so closely matched. They really do. And it could go all the way to the flag, this one. And a few people suggesting perhaps a mistake as he entered the DRS zone from Simon. I'm not sure, but we'll see on this lap if he fancies a move. And look at that, Surprise looks as if he got a little bit out of shape there, a little bit wide. Nope, maybe not. Maybe got the perfect run. And Simon, for now, remains stuck behind. A few drivers told me that the slipstream is extremely powerful here, and it's very difficult to break the toe. So maybe Simon perhaps thinking, if I save my battery, if I sit behind Surprise and then pounce at the end, I don't know. But there is a great battle going on for P6 and P7, and I think it's time we pick that up. Look at this, Thomas and Joe, really, really close together. And is this a move here from Thomas on Joe? I really want to go back to the leaders. I'm not sure where to look at the moment. I'm going to go back to the leaders. Simon still not close enough on making a move in Surprise, so we'll go back again to Thomas. Still no way through on Joe, and it stays P6 and P7 between those two. You just don't know where to look here in this race. It's been an absolute barnstormer up until now. Oh, and look at that, a little bit wide there was Joe. Is there a chance for Thomas to go up the inside? Not quite, and the race continues out in front. Let's go back to it. Simon still tucked up behind Veloci Surprise. 3.5 tenths between them as they begin lap 13 out of 27. Down towards turn 1. Right up behind them is Simon. I have to say, this is going to go on all the way to the flag. I have to say it. There's no way these guys are going to be separated. If they can't be separated in 13 laps, they're not going to be separated by the end of 27. We're coming towards the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Simon versus Surprise, going the distance. Limitless 3.6 off them. If these guys start battling, can Limitless and Merceau get there before the end? That will be one to watch. Through turn 7 once more. Simon attacking. Look at Surprise moving around, trying to break that toe, James. Incredible.
Absolutely, it's just trying to break that toe. You were saying earlier just how crucial it was that they sorted the toe out. Looks like Thomas has got at the inside of Joe. He's got the move done. Actually, the McLaren takes the position away once again from him, and the McLaren moves himself into P5. What a tremendous drive. But Simon and Surprise staying right in at it with each other. There's only They've not even got out of half a second between each other this entire Grand Prix, Andy. It's been that close the entire Grand Prix. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, it has. Can you just confirm? I think someone suggested in the comments that there's a penalty for Surprise. I think I missed it. Apologies if that's true. Apparently Veloci has got a penalty. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Apologies for missing that. There's been so much going on in this Grand Prix. So Veloci Surprise is a 3-second time penalty. That might help to explain why Simon let him go. Save the ERS, save the fuel, as Ciario has just mentioned there in the comments. And yes, that might have been what was behind Simon's plan. Is he going to go attacking on Surprise? Is that something he wants to do? Wants to risk, or is it not worth doing? Because if he does go attacking, he runs the risk of allowing Limitless into the battle. So let's see how it goes as Joe and Thomas are at it again into turn 1. I just don't know where to look at the moment. So down the hill they go through turn 2 and down towards turn 3. And what has been a breathless race up until now. Is there going to be any movement to turn 3? Not on this occasion, and Joe stays P5, and staying in P6 is BSR Thomas, who himself has had a pretty strong race, hasn't he?
Absolutely, he has. But look at Simon now on the back of Surprise. He's gaining to the outside, then towards the chicane. Looks like the McLaren has got the move done on the Williams. He's going to get him on the braking. Yes, he has. The McLaren takes the lead once again of the French Grand Prix. And we know the penalties are involved, but it's a crucial race, psychologically, you feel, between the top 2 in the championship.
Yep, and as that continues, Thomas makes his move on Joe. So Joe drops back again to P6, but he's coming straight back at him. I mean, this is just crazy. Action everywhere. Side by side go Thomas and Joe on the inside, through the right-hander I've seen, is back up into P5. So I think these two could be scrapping to the finish, as well as the two leaders. Limitless just unable at the moment to really carve that gap down. I think the DRS is hurting him, with the two guys dragging each other along. At the same time, Limitless is actually dragging Murso along, so it's difficult to see those gaps closing up between now and the end of the Grand Prix. You've got a 2-car fight for first, a 2-car fight for third, and a 2-car fight for P5 in this Grand Prix. Those are the best battles on track, and they're happening at the front of the field, and that is exactly what we like to see. So let's go back to Surprise versus Sion on lap 15 out of 27. I mean, it's so hectic, it's so crazy that it's almost hard to get excited for a leadership change, because it's happening so often. It's like an IndyCar, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like one of those, it's an oval kind of race, isn't it? Just everything going on all of the time. It's brilliant to see, and you don't often see it in Formula 1, so who says you can't race in these cars, eh? All those tyre temperatures. Anyway, let's see what Surprise and Limitless seemingly, I don't think, well, actually Surprise is gaining a lot, isn't he? Down towards the chicane they go again, and Surprise is up the inside again. Is he going to go for the move again? He's up the inside and he's got it done. And the Williams takes the lead of the Grand Prix once again in this French Grand Prix. It's twisting and turning. It's like the circuit itself. It's going to go for it again up the inside. Look at him. Up the inside goes Simon into the long right-hander. Would he think about it? He'll think about it, but he'll think better of it. And Simon stays behind, and this battle is still raging on.
Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 2 changes of the lead in 1 lap alone. Oh, I mean, I think we're going to run out of breath by the finish. Interestingly, by changing the lead twice on that lap, the Limitless has gained a little, 3.4 now. Keep it up, lads. We're going to have a 4-car battle if it keeps up like this. So Simon and Surprise continuing their duel. And the more this goes on, the more Art Surprise, and the more likely it will bring Limitless and Murso into play with that penalty. So not working well for Surprise at the moment. We've had 1 retirement from the Grand Prix, that's LCR Hayden in the Mercedes. He is out, 17 runners still out there, and action everywhere. So, BSR Simon, 9-lap-old tyres, just like his rival, Veloci Surprise, on lap 16 out of 27, 11 to go, as we go to that wonderful helicopter shot. The battles for 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th have calmed a little bit, still within a second, but not as tight as this battle here, as they go through turn 7 and onto the Mistral straight once again. I have to say, there was a lot of people unsure when we came here to the French Grand Prix in real life about that chicane. Maybe it'd be better not to bother with it, but it has to be said, it has been a major success, James, hasn't it? Having that Mistral chicane, particularly in this eSports racing, isn't it?
Absolutely, it just spices things up immensely. And I've just noticed riding on board with Simon, he seems to back off Surprise well before the corner. He doesn't actually want to go as close as he dares to the back of that Williams, because he feels like there could be even damage to his front wing perhaps if he brakes way too late, which is quite an obvious thing to think about. But that straight is so long, he gets such a good run on it as well. And he's really starting to reel in that Williams again. They're still you could put a £5 note between them at the moment. They're so close to one another. And Simon and Surprise, it's great to see that these top two are able to fight as well, because I didn't think that we'd see it as much as we have in this Grand Prix, but this is absolutely immense. And Simon now has got a tremendous drive coming off the final corner.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a look there. If you put a £5 note between them, I'll steal it, James. That's what will happen there. But down towards turn one, and it's Simon on the attack of Surprise. No signs of a move into turn one. It's pointless going for it into turn one when you've got that great opportunity down the Mistral straight, isn't it? Limitless 3.2, he's slowly chipping away at it, but unless these guys go into a frenzy of battling corner after corner, I don't think he's going to get there. And once again, the big question has to be asked about the qualifying pace. It just isn't working for Limitless and Martin in qualifying. Martin's having a poor afternoon, giving him front wing damage early on, but let's keep an eye on Simon this time, gaining and gaining and gaining, and this is going to be easy, not even worth getting excited for. Surprise admits defeat well before the corner, and Simon is back up into the lead, and I think it's a lead change that we could see quite often. It's like a MotoGP race, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They're squabbling such a moment, and it's brilliant. It is just brilliant to see that this track is providing such great racing, because you're right what you said earlier, there were doubters, but those doubters should soon be gone, I believe.
Yeah, they sure will. There's Limitless still unable to get close enough. How much he would love to get into this battle. You can see them in front of him now, but at the same time, Mercer was now only 4/10 behind him and is right back in this for the podium. It has to be said, I really am pleased for the Sauber driver, VSR Mercer. And so was his colleagues, so was his fellow drivers when he got that podium last week in Canada. He'd been struggling so much on the game, and then finally found something that clicked. It started to work. Got the podium last week, and then started P3 this week. And again in the race, showing some fine pace here. A pace that you could argue we didn't even see from him on F1 2017. He's actually eclipsing it, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's doing a great job recently, and he's doing enough, because at the moment for Haas, it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, the recent few races, more so has been stellar. Before all this, Holland was stellar, and they've been squabbling away, and actually it's just staying neutral. I want to see these two fighting up the front, because I think on their day they have the pace to do so, and I cannot wait to see when Haas will be up there with the likes of Surprise and Limitless, because I really do feel in some Grand Prix they may even have the pace in that Haas car to really challenge. But that gap is starting to extend between Limitless and Surprise. It's 4 seconds now between those two, and Surprise is really closing on Simon.
Yeah, he is. That's a gap that's shortening, and he's right on him as they go into turn 11, but unable to make the move. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, James. I really believe that one race will come along, Mercer and Holland will be so dialed in that they are going to have a chance of challenging for the victory. Mercer felt, when he spoke to us a couple of weeks ago, that he was dialed in. It's time to take the next step, fight for podiums. Race win maybe a bit far away, I'm sure he said, but on the evidence he's showing today here in France, he isn't going to be that far away from a race win. If Limitless isn't far away, neither's Mercer on the pace we're seeing today, and that is a great effort from VSR Mercer, dropping down 1 place in the race, so unlikely to win driver of the day, but still a fantastic effort. And I mean, he might still be a contender. I mean, but remember folks, 8 laps to go. Let us know who you would like to be nominated for driver of the day. I'll give you the position changes on your screen so you can have an idea. There you go, there they are. Limitless up 2, Thomas up 3, Reynolds up 5, Langman up 6 as well, so a good race so far from Langman. The top 2 unchanged, but I think that is about to change again at the front. Here comes Surprise, back on the attack of Simon on lap 19 out of 27, and once again it's a straight swap. Simon doesn't fight it too hard, and through goes Surprise, back up into the lead. It's just a DRS battle between these two as Limitless and Mercer slowly start to drop away after that early stint promise that we're going to start closing, James.
Absolutely, I think it's just the track really why these two are battling so much and able to battle so much, because it's just a case of momentum, because of how wide the track is in comparison to some tracks. France is quite a wide track, I'd say. You're able to take so many different approaches, so many different lines with each of these corners, so they're able to get momentum in different places. And that's probably why Simon and Surprise are battling as much as they are. I wouldn't expect to see this, maybe even next Grand Prix, but well, actually I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it in a future Grand Prix, them able to battle it out, because it would prove that it's not a fluke, that these two will fight and they'll be really close to each other. But I do feel some of this battling is just largely down to the track that they're on.
Yeah, it's down to the track that they're on, but I also believe that they are that similar on pace. Neither of them would, in my opinion, be able to break the DRS away from one another. They're so closely matched. I mean, maybe we wouldn't see as much overtaking, James, as we would on other tracks, but I certainly believe that they'd still be stuck to each other like glue. I really do believe that. They're so evenly matched. We've seen it in recent weeks, ever since China, when Simon just revved it up a gear, found some incredible pace, and he's just been turning in fine performance after fine performance. And look at this, he's getting into the toe of surprise again. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't make the move here. He'll be able to do it on the laps that follow, and it's no time to panic. Just take it easy, get onto the tail of surprise, use the DRS to the advantage, and make sure you stay there for the next lap to line up a move. Let's have a look at Thomas further down. We've been looking at that for a while. Here he goes on the inside of Joe. And again, it's just a similar battle, isn't it? Just like the front two, through goes Thomas, up into P5 again, and he's a real contender for driver of the day, as is Reynolds in P7. He's slowly starting to close on these two, and he might fancy his chances at beating them both, because he's got 4 lap fresher tyres than both of them, as does Langman, a further 5 seconds back. So Reynolds here could have a real possibility of getting into the top 5, doesn't he?
Absolutely, Reynolds is a racer as well. We've seen that this season. He can definitely fight a car. Joe looking for a move on the inside of Thomas through there, thinks once again better of it. But yeah, you're right. Reynolds is going to be so quick these next 7 laps compared to these guys. We know how Joe really can't handle a car that's tyres are falling off the edge of the cliff, you know, they're falling away really, and he just cannot handle them. It's the tyre temperatures as well that play a lot of dividends, and I'll keep going on about it. It's almost like the Halo debate. But anyway, Thomas and Joe now weaving their way down towards their one. Oh, what's going on?
Simon time penalty. Simon time penalty. So that's it. They are now level on penalties. So that is going to get tasty, James. Very tasty. Simon will have to go for it now. No choice. Whoa, that could get very exciting, couldn't it, in the closing laps?
Oh yeah, absolutely will. These two, we know how much it means for them to just beat each other in races. They give each other a lot of respect as well. And look at Simon, oh my goodness me, he's around the outside. Oh, what about that? He's got the move done on him on the brakes. I think Surprise made a mistake into the chicane, but I did not see that coming. What a move.
I didn't even see it because I wasn't even watching it. Incredible. I was 6/10 behind him when they started the straight, and I just didn't expect a move to be made. Back to it we go, and Simon again has the upper hand. He just stretched his legs, realised I've got a penalty here, I need to get a move on, jumps ahead of Surprise, and is he going to try and break away now? Surprise in mode 0 at the moment, Simon in mode 2. Is this his attempt to try and break away? Let's see if he can do it. 3.5 tenths at the moment. I think it's a tall order to do that, and it's Simon back up into the lead of this incredible race, and Limitless is coming back again, 3.3 off the tail of this duo, who will definitely now, James, have to squabble for it because they both have the same number of penalties, and I don't believe Limitless has any, and if this keeps up, Limitless might win this race.
Unbelievable. He doesn't have any penalties. He only has the one warning, Limitless. So he's definitely got a chance to win this Grand Prix if these two are squabbling as much as they are. But Surprise has got that little bit of a better line, you feel, through these next complex of corners. This is going to be so close once again. And we know what to expect, and potentially an overtake down in towards the chicane. Surprise made a mistake the previous lap. I don't think Simon will fall fate to it. He'll fall fate to the DRS itself. And Surprise should, and maybe will, move his way into the lead of the Grand Prix. They're side by side once again, and Surprise does indeed take the lead of the French Grand Prix once again.
Do they know, though, that Limitless doesn't have a penalty, and they both do? It's causing them to fight here, and that is not what they want to do. It could become a scenario that Limitless and Morsel could be fighting for the victory. But we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, they're not closing the way they need to. They need these two to fight. They're more likely to fight now than ever before, given they both have 3-second time penalties. It's up in the air. Does Morsel know that? Does Morsel want to start attacking Limitless? If he does that, they'll spoil both their chances of the win. It's like a pendulum. It's on a knife edge. It's swinging one way, then the other, as we end lap 22 and begin lap 23. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is going to be a fantastic finish. Can Limitless find the extra few tenths he needs to be closing on these guys? At the moment, it's hovering at 3.4. It's been doing that for a number of laps. He needs to start taking bite-sized chunks out of that advantage if he's going to do it. Either that or hope that Simon and Surprise gets even more personal than it already is, James.
Absolutely. Limitless needs to push like crazy these next few laps. He's only got 4 laps to reduce a half a second gap, and we've seen how difficult that is this Grand Prix. That isn't an easy feat. If you can try it, bloody well go for it, because you'll give yourself a chance. But let's just see, because Surprise and Simon will be close again towards the chicane, but I don't think it'll be close enough between these top 2, and it does stay as it was. Surprise from Simon. But, I mean, it is Limitless now. It's all in his hands. He has to go for it. He really needs to start throwing this Red Bull around a little bit. And because of those lap-older soft tyres, he could struggle towards the end of this compared to others. And this is where it's detrimental for Limitless now. He's 3rd, and he needs to find 0.6 of a second.
You know what? This is so perfect scenario here. This is like the Tour de France. Two guys pacing each other. You've got the 2 guys at the front, you're doing the pace, and the 2 guys behind doing the pace. It's just like a Tour de France at the French Grand Prix. You slipstream, then I'll slipstream, I'll do the work, then you do the work. That's how Surprise and Simon are ahead of Limitless the way they are. Limitless and Merceau unable to close because they're not swapping positions. I think the way Surprise and Simon are doing this, it looked like he was going for the pits there, didn't it? And down the straight towards the first corner they go. And this slipstreaming is making it difficult for Limitless to close, I think. The only way he will close is if these guys start strapping like crazy, which they might begin to do in the last lap or 2. Because it's not about pulling away from Limitless in the last lap or 2, it's about beating each other. So it could work out that way. But as I say that, Limitless drops to 4 seconds off the duo. So that could be curtains for Veloci Limitless and his chances of winning this race. It has been a unique Grand Prix, not something we see often. 2 drivers at the front, quite literally, whether they mean it or not, helping each other out with a 3-second time penalties to pull away from the 2 cars without them behind. It's strange, but that's the way it's working out, James.
Absolutely, and watching Simon, he's so good on his left foot. He's absolutely sold out of the brakes into every corner he's seemingly going into now. But you're right, I mean, curtains for the Limitless at the moment, but it could be curtains if contact is made. If contact is made here, that is
Simon!
it.
Simon's gone! He's round, he's going to go for a full spin into turn 11. Too much speed was carried by Simon. The car went round into a spin, a half spin. He's held on to it, but there goes his chances of the win, and maybe even his chances of the podium. Unbelievable, bad luck for Simon. Did he catch a little bit of dirty air from the car in front? Did he just carry too much speed? I'm not too sure, but Simon has thrown away the win. All that work is actually going to throw away a podium as well at this rate. Surprise should have a free run to victory now, and Limitless should have P2 or Willie, because Merceau is right behind him, James.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, it's not brilliant for Simon at all, is it? It's just incredible action at this French Grand Prix, and honestly, I just think that was the tyres. I genuinely just think that was the tyres completely going off. The temperatures must have just been skyrocketing through the roof, and he just couldn't deal with it. And that fast right, although it looks easy, I'm sure on the traction, I'm sure he just lost it that ever so slightly. And that's what cost him through there. But you're right, Merceau is really closing in, and he stayed within this gap with Limitless. These two have shown such similar pace in this Grand Prix. It's almost so difficult to say. But Merceau could find himself in P2 in this French Grand Prix. And after that podium in Canada, what a tremendous couple of Grand Prix it's been for the Haas.
Yeah, wow, Simon slowly cutting the gap back down immediately for Surprise. It's too little too late though. That little slide, that little moment is going to cost him any hope of victory. And it's now all about, you have to feel, Limitless and Merceau. But Limitless, is he dropping off the back of Simon here? 2.1. Well, maybe not. Well, we have to wait and see. But if Merceau goes for a move on Limitless, it might spare Simon second place. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Penalties playing a factor here in the closing laps of this fantastic, thrilling, exciting French Grand Prix. It's been yo-yoing one way and then the other. And we've only got just 2 laps to go, sorry. A Surprise crosses the line from Simon in second, Limitless in third, and Merceau in fourth. Can Merceau make a move? It's strange, James, that Simon and Surprise could change places, but Merceau with a similar gap to Limitless couldn't. Perhaps a difference in setup between the guys.
Perhaps, but it may even just be the driver. I mean, no, it's not the driver itself, it's simply the way he drives the car. And I think, genuinely, Merceau is a little bit more calculated. When he wants to race in wheel-to-wheel combat, we've seen he can do it. He can definitely do it. But he's just thinking about it. He's sizing him up. He's thinking, when will he make a mistake? Will he make a mistake? And if he does, where am I going to make this move? Because at the moment, it only looks like this back straight, and at the moment, it doesn't seem all too close to Limitless. Although that gap is closing, it's not closing enough, and more so when he's getting really late on the brakes once again into the chicane. And he's just seeing Limitless just cruise on by, just not really doing much as Limitless. He's not really defending too hard against him at the moment, and Thomas has actually got a move done on Joe into the braking zone, and Thomas moves ahead of Joe as well, and the gap is also as Reynolds is closing on this fight as well. And some great old squabble going on for P5 in this Grand Prix, and it's all just kicking off once again. Joe right on the back of Thomas, and Reynolds right on the back of Joe. It's just really close between these guys at the moment. Joe looking for a move on the inside, Thomas cuts him off. And will he get a move done? Will Joe? No, thinks better of it. Reynolds is up the inside. Oh my goodness me! He's gone for it. The Sauber takes P6. Oh goodness me, what a move that is.
That's absolutely brilliant from Reynolds. Opportunistic, using the extra life in his tyres, the extra traction he had to slingshot up the inside into turn 11. How cheeky was that? How rude was that? Who cares? He's through. Brilliant manoeuvre to take the place. And I think, look at that. Murso against Simon is going to be so close at the finish here. Imagine Surprise was to get another penalty. What would that do to things? As they go down towards turn 1, Hayden's saying in the chat he's only one warning away from another penalty. But imagine that could be crazy if he was to get another one. But let's stick with Reynolds here, who's making a late bid for driver of the day, it has to be said. He's now up into P6 from starting outside the top 10. He's up 6 places. Up as many as Langman, who's up 6
also
as well.
Going to go for it.
Oh,
he's down the outside of Limitless into the chicane. Is he going to get it stopped on the brakes? No. No, he doesn't. And actually, he's not got the move done on the Red Bull. Goodness me, that got close under braking.
Oh, hold on behind that. Now we've got Reynolds against Thomas. Is he finally through? Yes, he is. Reynolds makes a 7th place up in this Grand Prix and surely cements his place as a contender for driver of the day. Would you go for Murso? Would you go for Reynolds? Would you go for Surprise? I'm not sure. Let's go back to look at Murso right on the tail of Limitless. But surely it's too little. It's too late for Murso to make that move. He's not even going to get the podium here because Simon's found the gap. But let's go to Veloci Surprise, rounding the final corner. The perfect performance, the pressure was on, he didn't crack, Simon did, and Veloci Surprise extends his lead in the championship further. Simon second, Limitless just comes home in third. Oh, Simon penalty just gets ahead of Simon.
Look how much Murso missed out by 500ths of a second.
Crazy.
That's so close.
So
unbelievable.
So
it is cruel.
So close. But that is the fine margins of Formula 1. What a race we've had here in France. From the start to the finish. Usually Grand Prix have got some kind of structure to them where you've got action at the start, a little bit of a lull in the middle, then action at the end with a few highlights in between. Nope, not this one. It was just constant action everywhere. Almost to the point where you start not enjoying it. There's so much going on. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. What a race. Veloci Surprise, what a drive. That was a sensational performance under so much pressure against VSR Simon. Simon cracked, ran wide, and Limitless without any penalties snatched the P2. Simon P3, Murso, agony for him, P4. OMG, it's Joe 5th. Thomas was 6th. Langman 7th, and Reynolds, who was a contender for driver of the day, too many penalties, drops to P8. Melanie 9th, and Martin, a forgettable afternoon for him in P10. Snazzy Evening, his first race in ILR. He was off facing the wrong way at the start. I think it was contact with Martin, I'm unsure. He finishes outside the points in P11. James, what a race. I mean, would you pick a driver of the day? Ciario, I think I've seen him vote for, I think he voted for, who was it again? It was Murso, even by dropping a place. I think Murso was pretty impressive today, wasn't he? What a performance.
Yeah, he really was. He had some great pace in that Grand Prix. I want to give a shout out to Reynolds as well, with another stellar drive from the alternate strategy, which he's almost famous for now in this league. It's absolutely brilliant how he carves his way through the pack the way he does. And yeah, I mean, for me, Reynolds, I think, was he's a great contender. I think the penalties probably lets him down on that front, but Thomas had a great Grand Prix as well. Langman had a great race. You know, it was just there's so many. Yeah, Limitless had a good performance. Oh, that's a bit glitchy. I don't know what I was seeing there. But yeah, Limitless a contender for driver of the day. Surprise, keeping his cooler contender.
Merceau with the pace that we've not seen from him until now, incredible. Where do you go? Where do you pick Reynolds? I mean, the penalties let him down a little. I mean, I think I'm going to have to agree with what Sergio said. I mean, I don't often like giving out driver of the day to someone that drops a place, but given the sudden upturn in pace and surprise that we got from VSR Merceau, I have to say he's my driver of the day. When you count the penalties, only 2.5 seconds off the eventual winner. Veloci surprise. So yeah, incredible race. Veloci surprise, your winner. Veloci limitless P2. VSR Simon P3. James, take it away with the interviews after a hectic race here in France.
There you go. So we do have the top three and all the penalties. Of course, we saw that Morso missed out by 5 or nearly 600, best part of 600ths of a second. And we go to surprise, and that was quite close, wasn't it? It was a really close race, that one, it seemed. It seemed like it just kept flipping the coin almost, that race. There's so many changes going on between yourself and Simon. Was it something that, you know, you expected to happen this Grand Prix? Was it the kind of track where you thought you'd just constantly get squabbling like that?
Yeah, it is the type of track to get that type of battle in, especially with how OP the DRS is. But my race was pretty hectic qualifying. Unfortunately, my last lap was invalid, or this and next lap invalid, because I was letting some cars go past and I went off the track. And yeah, anyway, and then it was, I think we all knew that, all the drivers knew that if you could stick within maybe 5-6 tenths coming onto the straight, you would just stick it in overtake and you'd be back, maybe even going for an overtake. It was a bit too powerful, the slipstream, for my liking. And when we're all this close in terms of pace, you can't really break a gap. So I knew that just stuck in the slipstream of Simon, I'll be able to hold on. And then I think I made an overtake lap 5 or wherever, and then made a mistake. That wasn't great. But yeah. And then,
no.
Coming on to the softs, then it was just, me and Simon seemed to be letting each other through. It was quite scrappy, just letting each other pass and then going back through. And then I noticed JD was starting to catch up. So I think it was at around the end of the race, like lap 22, 23 maybe. I decided just try and put my foot down a little bit, and then Simon made a mistake. I think I don't know if it was a mistake, but it seemed to be at the same corner that I made mine earlier in the race. And then, yeah, from there, it was just nursing the tyres home.
Absolutely. Just, yeah, crazy race from our perspective. But, I mean, somehow, after all that, you've managed to extend your lead in the championship. I mean, I'm not going to say it was expected, because that will give us, I'm sure, an answer we'll want to hear. But, you know, it's quite an obvious one. You know, for future Grand Prix, of course, you and Simon looking so close recently, it has to be said. Surely this is going to continue between you two. Can you really see him? I mean, what's the Austria track like? Well, for you at least, because that's where the championship heads to next. And you know, will this battle continue in that sense? Can you really see this challenge maybe going? Well, maybe not to the wire in terms of points, but is that realistic to think like that?
100%. I think maybe some people would underestimate Simon because of his performances earlier in the season. But I think it's just going to... This race is probably going to happen for all the races down the line. It's going to be so close. Even JD as well. If he can qualify maybe top 3, I think he'll definitely be fighting for wins. Or he'll be... Well, he's only 2 seconds off today and he started P5, so definitely have to watch out for him. And then Simon's just... He'll be taking a lot of poles, so I have to watch out for that. And yeah, but in terms of Austria, I have no idea.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on the win. We moved to second place, JD, and it was how can we really sum up that race for you? It was quite, you know, I'd say calm at the end there. I mean, more so is right behind you, but seemingly stayed that way for a long time in that race. So, were you comfortable in the position you were? Did you feel like you just had pretty consistent pace that whole race?
Yeah, coming into this race, probably the race I've prepared for the most this season so far, and I felt my pace was really, really good in qualifying. I knew Simon and Surprise, they were just insane in qualifying, but I mainly set my car up for the race, just to be quite stable, to pit end of lap 5 and go to the end of the race. Um, Qualifying more so did a really, really good lap as well, to get ahead of me. So I started P5 there, had a decent, I got actually pushed on turn 1 a little bit, but managed to maintain P5. And then I decided to pit on end of lap 5. I was quite surprised they actually continued for another lap, because I thought their tyre would be quite bad. But then I got held 3 seconds in the pits. I got more so was 2.5 seconds behind me, and he jumped me in the pits. So I got held by 3 seconds or something, 3 to 4 seconds or something like that. So I was really happy when I went to the pits, because I thought I'd be able to jump Surprise and Simon. And I knew in practice my pace felt the best it had done all season. So I felt if I could have came out amongst them, I think I could have stuck with them to the end of the race. And yeah, for the rest of the race, I got one warning for the whole race. That's when I got pushed off on lap 1, and then I got no warning for the race, and literally just did qualifying lap after qualifying lap. Managed to close in a little bit after they started battling on all the tires as well. So the pace was there. It was just disappointing I couldn't race with Surprise and Simon, because I think I definitely had the pace to keep up with them, but. Yeah, and also behind me. It felt like I had a caravan behind me, because I just couldn't get out of his DRS at all. It's just I think this track in particular, it's just so hard to get out of DRS, and obviously everyone is so good in this league as well. But pretty unlucky day in, because I know he always wants to get podiums, and he drove a really good race. His pace was pretty insane as well. So disappointed that I couldn't fight for the win, because I was not hoping, but I was trying to keep myself really clean in case I had penalties. I know Simon had a penalty; it was pretty unlucky for him. But yeah, disappointing that got held in the pit. But it is what it is.
I suppose so. And also, I mean, it's a question that maybe is a little bit, I don't say controversial. I think it's probably fair, but it's the qualifying that maybe seemingly letting you down this season. So, would you say it's a fair comment, and would you say it's something you've got to maybe up your game with, in terms of if you're really going to fight with these top 2, or say top 3, top 4? Is it the qualifying that's going to really set yourself, well, cat amongst the pigeons, really?
Yeah, pretty much. For some reason, when I was racing on the controller, qualifying was always really good for me, but on the wheel, I just seemed to, on race pace, it seems to be there, but on one lap pace, I just seemed to just not be able to put it together the whole time. I think my PB was a 28.3.0, so I don't know if that would have been enough for top 3 anyway, but it always seems that Joe qualifies ahead of me, and he seems to struggle a little bit on race pace. So whenever he qualifies ahead of me, I got held a little bit in the first stint. I need a qualifying where I'm next to Surprise and Simon. So yeah, if I can just get it together on another track. My lap felt pretty good, and it was clean as well, so I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, qualifying pace, I felt I did a quite a good lap, but these guys are just insane in 1 lap pace. So I'm just kind of hoping they bottle it, or other people bottle it. If I can start top 3 or 4, then I think I have a chance of the win in future races. So.
Fair enough. Congratulations on your second place, and we move on to Simon in P3. And Simon, that's probably a bit of a pill to swallow. Really, it was so close between you and Surprise that whole Grand Prix. So to finish 3rd, that must be a bit of a tough race to take, really. An awkward pause.
Simon.
Don't think he has a mic. I think he has.
Oh no. Well.
Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Hey.
Hello?
Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
a tough pill to swallow is an accurate description, I would say. It was a really weird race. I don't really know what happened, in all honesty, because at some point I was behind Surprise. I let him through just to save some fuel and some tires and stuff. And I knew he had a penalty, so I just said to myself, stuck behind, keep with him, and make sure JD isn't catching up. And everything was going well until these sort of strange letting pass things happened, and we didn't really. It was such a weird balance letting us each other pass that we didn't really had even the chance to pull like to do good laps, and so um, that sort of caught me off guard and confused me a bit. And then I got my third warning, which yeah, which made me rage a bit heavily. It wasn't good, and yeah, and then made a big mistake. The game doesn't really have dirty air, but if you right behind, then you lose traction, and that what happened. I just lost it into the right hander at I don't know where it was, and lost like I don't know 2 seconds or so, and then tires were a bit hot, couldn't really get them back into temperature. Tried to catch up, wasn't working, and ended up being a big fucking mess. So I not even really, yeah, I just want to go home, even though I'm home. I just want to go to bed.
Well, we do we do like a PG stream, guys. So if you're offended, you know, just leave it out. Uh, but Simon, I mean, the omens are good for you, really, in terms of the pace, in terms of the qualifying. So, I mean, there's one positive perhaps you could take from this Grand Prix in terms of, you know, your pace is always seemingly there. You've just got to get the luck now.
Yeah, but I knew it. I knew that coming into it. I mean, it was like that the last 5, 6 races. I don't expect it to drop suddenly. And also, what I find a bit strange, I had two bad, literally only Australia, where I wasn't quite comfortable with my wheel yet. So I didn't really had pace there, but from then on, my pace was really good. And for some reason, it's still surprising for people when I fight at the front. Not that I'm offended or anything, because people can think whatever they want and they probably have a reason for it. But yeah, I just find it a bit weird. I don't know.
No, I mean we expect you to be there now. I mean we've got to come out with whatever we have to. Yeah, I mean commiserations on P3. I'm going to say. I mean it's still a pretty good result, but I mean it's not what you wanted at the end of the day. And top 3, Andy. I mean some mixed emotions you could say, but I mean you got any further questions?
Yeah, well, I've just listened into what everyone's saying there. First of all, I want to jump on what Simon said about people being surprised about him being there. I mean, I was certainly surprised after the first 2 races to suddenly see him right up there. I know he didn't win in China in ILR, but he certainly did in ILR. I mean, that for me and for Justin in ILR at the time was a bit of a shock. Simon hadn't won a race, and all of a sudden he turned up and won, but not anymore. No way are we surprised anymore. Simon every single week is there or thereabouts, the closest challenger without doubt to Velocity's Prize, race in, race out, and that is going to be the case for the majority of the season. Great to see Limitless up in his game again, and he said it as well. He said he was practicing more than ever before for a race, and he showed great pace today and picked up that P2. I mean, Mano Morso's not here, but goodness gracious me, what a drive from him. Where has he found the pace from? Yeah. Incredible. I mean, we saw how last week he picked up that first podium. Everyone was so pleased for him because he didn't have that much pace in the game and he found something. All of a sudden he's turned up this week and he's quicker on this game than he ever was on the last game. Incredible pace from Morso to take it to JD all race long as well. And surprise, I mean, sensational. I mean, that's why he's the championship leader. Consistent, kept his nerve, no mistakes, and brought it home for the victory. I've got one question, by the way, for JD, and it is actually not from me. It's from your Renault eSports Vitality teammate, Kimi Larson, and he's asking if you were on the keyboard during that Grand Prix. I don't know why it's asking. I don't know if it's a teammate banter thing here, but he's asking if you were on the keyboard. Can you confirm that?
The keyboard's got a better tire with. No, we're practicing we're playing it in the hotel room quite a bit in between practice, actually testing setups and straight line speed of a keyboard. So yeah, maybe next time, maybe Austria.
Well, there you go. I was wondering why he was asking such a strange question, but I knew there was something behind it. So there you go. That's the Renault Sports secret. Practice on a keyboard behind the scenes. There you go. But yeah, that rounds it off from me. That rounds it off from James. Thanks very much, James, for the interviews. We've got nothing else to add to that crazy race in France, which was, in fact, actually, I've got one other thing to say before I do round up. the word weird, which Simon said to sum up that race, I think it was Simon that said it, spot on, perfect. Because me and James were not expecting that either. It was almost as if Surprise and Simon were helping each other out with 3-second penalties to pull away from Limitless behind. It was such a weird setup. You let him go, I'll let him go. And then as Simon said, weird is the exact word. And I'm a bit critical because I feel, not of the drivers, of just the way it worked out. I feel it's a wee bit too artificial, as Surprise said, a wee bit overpowered, and I just feel maybe if the game was a little bit less powerful on that, because it seems it takes a wee bit of the excitement away of a rare battle on track when it's just a swapperoo every lap. But yeah, we still enjoyed it. It was something different. It was a great race and it kept us on the edge of our seats. But yep, that's all I've got to add. That's everything I've got to say. I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. That was it for the French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard. We head off to the next Grand Prix, which I believe is Austria or Silverstone? Austria?
Austria.
Yeah. So Austria next. It should be another cracker, a short lap. So it should bring the field extremely close in qualifying. So that's it from me. That's it from James. That's it from the three finishers on the podium. We head to Austria next Friday night, same time, 7:30 in Spielberg for round 9 of the Inside Line Racing League Championship. That's all for me. Good night.